Have you ever felt stuck in a rut or intimidated by a big challenge that seems impossible to overcome? There may be times when you feel like your brain keeps giving you reasons to avoid the hard stuff, reminding you to choose comfort over facing adversity. However, it is precisely in those moments that we learn to force ourselves to step outside our comfort zone. Why? Stoicism, a philosophy that has been around for thousands of years, teaches us that the greatest strength comes not from avoiding challenges, but from having the courage to face them head-on. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and renowned Stoic, stated, "What bothers you is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it." This reminds us that challenges are not enemies, but opportunities for growth. When you push your brain to do hard things, you not only test your physical limits, but you also strengthen your mental ones. Every step towards a difficult goal brings about a change in the way we think and act. In today's fast-paced world, the ability to push ourselves to do hard things consistently is a valuable skill. So what can we learn from the Stoics about facing difficult challenges? How can we force our brains to survive and thrive in the face of adversity? In the next section, we'll dig deeper into the power of intention and self-control that lie at the heart of this philosophy. The power of intention, shaping the mind to face adversity. When we talk about forcing the brain to do hard things, we are talking about control over our thoughts, actions, and reactions. One of the most important lessons we can take from Stoicism is that what happens in our lives depends not entirely on external circumstances, but on how we respond to them. Maintaining control over our thoughts and reactions is key to facing adversity with poise and courage. Stoic philosophy teaches that we can't control much in life, but we can control how we respond to what comes our way. When a major challenge arises, many people tend to run away or find excuses to avoid it. The Stoics urge us to do the opposite. Approach the challenge with intention and calm. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of intention in all our actions. He said that we must change our minds about the situations we face. In other words, if we can rewire our minds to see adversity as an opportunity for growth, we will find strength in the face of adversity. Why is intention so important? Because intention is the starting point of all action. When we have a strong intention to face something difficult, we instill a motivation that is deeper than just the desire to avoid pain or discomfort. Intention gives us the commitment to keep trying, even when things get tough. In this context, our brain is not only tasked with thinking, but also programmed to act with a clear purpose. This intention to face adversity often involves practicing mindfulness. One technique used by many Stoics is premeditatio malorum, or preparation for the worst. This is a practice in which we imagine bad things that might happen, times when we will experience discomfort or failure, and prepare our minds for that possibility. Rather than fearing adversity, we train ourselves to see it in a more rational and courageous way. Why does this work? Because by mentally preparing ourselves, we reduce the emotional shock that comes when something difficult actually happens. Rather than feeling devastated or shocked, we can stay focused on the action we need to take. This doesn't mean we plan for failure or avoid positive expectations, but rather we create the mental readiness to act with wisdom, even if things don't go as planned. A real-life example of this philosophy can be seen in everyday life. Imagine you are facing a big test or project that feels very challenging. Instead of getting caught up in the fear of failure or procrastination, you can start with a clear intention to complete the challenge, no matter the outcome. Remembering that these difficulties are part of the learning and growth process, you focus your mind on moving forward. Each small step towards completion is a step towards greater personal growth. This is the power of intention, changing the way we see and respond to adversity. When we direct our minds to embrace adversity, rather than avoid it, we give ourselves the opportunity to grow further than we ever imagined. Ultimately, intention is the fire that motivates our brains to persist, even when all the reasons to quit are in front of us. Mastering self-control, staying focused amidst temptation. Self-control is a fundamental aspect of Stoic philosophy that teaches us not to let uncontrolled desires and emotions control our actions. When we force our brains to do difficult things, we are often tempted to give up or choose comfort. This is when self-control is tested. Stoicism teaches that our ability to remain calm, focused, and act wisely despite the urge to retreat is the key to overcoming life's toughest challenges. It is important to understand that self-control does not mean suppressing all personal emotions or needs, but rather directing our emotions and desires to support a greater purpose. In a world full of distractions and instant gratification, developing the ability to control ourselves can be a major challenge. However, the Stoics believed that by exercising self-control, we can become freer from external forces that seek to capture our attention. At its most basic, self-control is about the ability to focus on the things we can control and ignore the things we can't control. We can't control the weather, other people's behavior, or the outcomes of our actions, but we can control how we respond to them. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine you're in the middle of a stressful routine. Perhaps you're working on an important task, but the temptation to retreat to your comfort zone is overwhelming. You're feeling exhausted, and your brain is giving you reasons to take a break or put the task off. This is where self-control is tested. By training yourself to stay focused on a task despite the strong urge to quit, you're training your ability to overcome momentary urges that can get in the way of achieving your long-term goals. One way to practice self-control is to break down large tasks into smaller pieces and focus on one thing at a time. This helps reduce feelings of overwhelm and makes us feel more in control. When temptation comes, we can remind ourselves that every action we take, every decision we make is a step toward a larger goal. Ultimately, self-control is not just about avoiding temptation, but also about staying on track despite it. Similarly, mindfulness practice can also be an effective tool for practicing self-control. By practicing mindfulness, we can become more aware of the internal impulses that influence our decisions. Self-control is also closely tied to habits and discipline. The habits we form on a daily basis are a reflection of our level of self-control. If we are used to following emotional impulses or instant desires, we will struggle to cope when bigger challenges arise. Conversely, by practicing discipline in our daily routines, whether in work, fitness, or study, we develop the strength to stay focused on what matters despite the temptation to move on to easier or more enjoyable things. This is why the Stoics emphasize the importance of good habits as a foundation for developing stronger self-control. Every time we force ourselves to do something difficult, we are building the mental strength necessary to overcome greater obstacles in the future. These disciplined habits form a mindset that allows us to persist, even when the path we are on feels challenging. Turning adversity into opportunity, learning from every obstacle. Whenever we face adversity, we have two choices: to give in and seek comfort, or to turn the adversity into an opportunity for growth. For a Stoic, challenges are not obstacles to be avoided, but rather stepping stones to greater personal growth. Stoic philosophy teaches us that adversity is an integral part of the process of learning and achieving goals. Through adversity, we test our inner strength, strengthen our character, and ultimately discover deeper wisdom. One of the core principles of Stoicism is amor fati, which means love of fate. It's not just about accepting what happens, but also about embracing it with a positive attitude. No matter how difficult or unpleasant the situation may be, Stoics believe that we can't control what happens in our lives, but we can choose how we respond to it. The challenges we face often teach us valuable lessons that we would not have learned in comfort. For example, when we face failure in our work or business, we have the opportunity to analyze our mistakes, learn from them, and avoid making the same mistakes in the future. Likewise, when we face obstacles in our personal or social relationships, we learn about the power of empathy, communication, and emotional resilience. These are all experiences that shape us into wiser, more resilient individuals. Epictetus, a famous Stoic philosopher, said, "Nothing can destroy us except our own thoughts." This reminds us that our reaction to adversity is what determines whether we will stumble or thrive. When we choose to see each obstacle as an opportunity to learn and grow, we change the way we see the world and approach challenges. In many ways, how we respond to adversity is more important than the adversity itself. For example, let's imagine an athlete who is training to achieve a big goal, like winning a race. Every tough workout, every pain he experiences, is not an obstacle, but part of the process of getting better. There may be times of fatigue, frustration, or even injury. However, an athlete who adopts a Stoic mindset will see all of this as part of the journey, a process that not only shapes his body, but also his mentality and resilience. The same principle applies in our daily lives. When we are faced with seemingly impossible tasks, we can choose to see them as opportunities to hone our skills. Every time we overcome an obstacle, We learn about ourselves, about our limitations, about our strengths, and about what we can accomplish if we persist. Adversity, in other words, is not something to be avoided, but something to be faced with courage and confidence. It's important to remember, however, that turning adversity into an opportunity doesn't mean we should be naive or pretend that things are always easy. Rather, it means accepting that life is full of challenges, and we have the power to choose how we deal with them. This is a great lesson of Stoicism. In every difficulty, there is an opportunity to discover a greater strength within ourselves. Creating habits that support mental toughness. Resilience is not about avoiding the storm, but about learning how to dance in the rain. One of the main keys to overcoming adversity in life is to develop habits that support mental toughness. These habits do not come automatically but require practice and consistency. Stoicism teaches us that mental toughness is not something that just appears in a moment of crisis, but rather the result of daily habits as we train ourselves to overcome the laziness, doubt, or fear that can prevent us from achieving our goals. These habits, while seemingly simple, have a tremendous impact on how we respond to challenges in life. One of the first habits we must develop is self-discipline. Self-discipline is not just about following a strict routine, but rather the ability to stay focused on a goal despite temptations and distractions. This is a fundamental habit because with discipline, we build the mental foundation that allows us to endure adversity and face it with our heads held high. In Stoicism, the habit of maintaining calm in the face of challenges is an important part of self-development. One habit we can practice is deep breathing or meditation techniques that help calm our minds and bodies. When we practice controlling our breathing, we teach ourselves to remain calm and not get caught up in the waves of negative emotions when faced with stress or adversity. This is a habit that gives us the ability to respond to situations with calm, rather than impulsive reactions that often lead to regret. Additionally, the habit of accepting reality with an open heart is essential to building mental toughness. In a world full of uncertainty, we can't always control what happens around us, but we can choose to accept that reality and focus on what we do have control over: our actions, our attitudes, and how we respond to circumstances. When we stop fighting reality and accept that challenges are a part of life, we become more flexible and better prepared to handle whatever comes our way. One practical way to build this habit is to set realistic goals and then create a clear action plan. Big goals are inspiring, but without a structured plan, we tend to feel overwhelmed and anxious. When we break down big goals into small, manageable steps, we give our brains a chance to stay focused and move forward, even when adversity comes our way. With each small step, we test our resilience, and over time, we become stronger and more confident. Additionally, it is important to practice positive thinking even in difficult situations. Stoics teach us to change the way we view adversity. Instead of seeing failure as the end of the world, we can see it as an opportunity to learn and grow. With this habit, we not only strengthen our mental toughness, but also improve the way we view the world. This mindset reminds us that every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow, rather than a threat to be avoided. These habits not only help us deal with current challenges, but they also prepare us for greater challenges in the future. Over time, by practicing discipline, calm, acceptance, and a positive mindset, we build unshakable mental toughness. Ultimately, this resilience is not just about surviving adversity, but about growing through it, emerging stronger, wiser, and better prepared to face it again. Becoming an inspiration, using mental toughness to help others. Mental toughness not only benefits ourselves, but also has the potential to inspire and help others around us. Stoicism teaches us that our lives are not just about achieving personal goals, but also about making a positive impact on others, especially when we face adversity. When we approach challenges with calm, courage, and wisdom, we show others that adversity is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be faced with head held high. Ultimately, the mental toughness we build can serve as a living example that can inspire others who may be struggling with their own challenges. When others see us remaining strong and resilient despite obstacles, they feel encouraged to persevere and move forward on their own journeys. In a world full of uncertainty and difficulty, leading by example in the face of challenges is one of the best ways to have a positive impact. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoics, often wrote in his personal journal about the importance of maintaining a good attitude, not only for yourself but also for others. He believed that the calm and wisdom we display in the face of adversity can inspire others to act in the same way. When we face adversity with wisdom, we not only increase our ability to cope, but we also show others that they too can overcome their challenges. Concrete examples of this can be seen in everyday life. Imagine you are a leader at work, or a friend who is facing a major personal problem. If you're able to stay calm and focused despite difficult situations, the people around you will be more likely to follow your lead. When they see you not giving up and facing challenges with a positive attitude, they may feel more confident and motivated to do the same. For those who may find it difficult to overcome their own challenges, our resilience can be a source of strength. Sometimes what they need is not words or advice, but a real-life example of how someone can persevere and stay positive despite adversity. When we do not allow ourselves to be brought down by adversity, we remind others that they too have the strength to overcome their fears, doubts, and difficulties. But it's also important to remember that inspiring others doesn't mean being perfect or without struggles. In fact, when we acknowledge our struggles and humbly show how we deal with them, we set a more authentic and powerful example. Mental toughness isn't about projecting an image that we never experience adversity, but about showing that we are able to cope, grow, and keep moving forward, even when things aren't always perfect. Even in moments when we feel tired or lost, we can still be a source of inspiration. We can share our struggles with others not to seek sympathy, but to show that we all have our own struggles. In this way, the mental toughness we build not only enriches our own lives, but also the lives of those around us.